Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. For dinner this first night, Gary and I weren't really hungry, and so we just did a yo-yo night, or you're on your own. I made some quick scrambled eggs and then did toast. I like to make like a toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so I'll put my toast in the toaster and then I spread peanut butter on one side, jelly on the other, and then just put it together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So that's what I had, and then I didn't get a picture of what he had, but he ate later than I did. All he had was just a bowl of golden grams, so that was our dinner that night. For dinner the next night, I did Copycat Cafe Rio sweet pork salads. Now, I have shared this before my channel, and I explained this in that video, but, just in case you're new to my channel or you didn't catch that video, I have had this recipe for years and years and years, at least 15 years. I don't know where I know I got the original recipe from a lady at church. I have no idea where she got it, so I unfortunately can't give credit for it, but I'll have the recipes typed out in the description box below for you. And disclaimer, I've never been to Cafe Rio. I have been to Costa Vida and had their sweet pork salads, and I've heard that Costa Vida is pretty close to Cafe Rio. Don't know if that's true or not, but whether you have been or haven't been to Cafe Rio, this recipe is delicious. It's easy, it makes a ton, and it's great because you can do many different things with it. So let me show you how to put this together. Let's start out by making the sweet pork. Here I have a pork loin. Sometimes I make this using a pork shoulder or pork butt, but today I'm using a pork loin. Pork shoulder wasn't on sale and pork loin was. Then you're going to need barbecue sauce, use your favorite, and then Coca-Cola. So all you're going to do is add those three ingredients to a crock pot, cook it on low for about 6 to 8 hours or so. You can do this on high for about 4 hours. And once it is just super, super tender and falling apart, I remove the pork to a separate bowl, shred it up with a couple forks, and then I like to place it back into the crock pot with all those juices, give it a good stir, and then just keep that on warm while we're making everything else. So next, I'm going to make a tomatillo ranch dressing. This ranch dressing is so good, you guys. So to start out, I have some tomatillos here. I did remove the husks and then gave them a wash. Now, these do look like green tomatoes. They are not. They're not even in the same family as a tomato. They're in the gooseberry family. So unfortunately, you can't sub out just like green tomatoes for this. Now, the recipe, I'm having the recipe, by the way, calls for one like medium-sized tomatillo. These were really small, so I cut up several ones. Now, you can do this in a food processor or blender. I do it in this little like smoothie maker type thing, and it works just fine. Next, I'm going to add in a jalapeno. I did remove the membrane and the seeds. I'm going to add in some garlic and cilantro, and if you have the soap gene, you can use parsley for this. It won't have the exact same flavor, but you can sub that. Now I'm going to add in some fresh lime juice, and then here in this bowl I've got some ranch dressing. You can use your favorite bottled. This, I just did some semi-homemade ranch dressing, which to make that I just use mayonnaise, buttermilk, or milk. Sometimes I even use almond milk to make this, and then just the dry ranch Hidden Valley mix, and on the back it gives you instructions for various amounts of ranch. So you just mix that up, wait about 30 minutes, and then that's it. So I'm going to put the lid on this and then blend it up until it's smooth. Give it a taste. See if it needs a little salt, a little more lime juice. Now, at this point, it's done. You can serve this right away. I like to pop it into the fridge for like 30 minutes to marinate and come together while I'm making the rest of dinner. Now I'm going to make some cilantro lime rice in the rice cooker. So I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of butter. Next, I'm going to add in my long grain white rice. I put it in a mesh strainer and then run cold water over it until the water runs clear. Next, I'm going to add in some salt, followed by lime zest. I don't always add in lime zest. I don't think the recipe calls for it, but I just decided, hey, I'm using the fresh lime, might as well use the zest as well. So I'm going to give that a stir and then cover this with the lid, flip this to cook. Once the rice is done, the rice cooker will flip itself to warm. I like to unplug it at that point and then let it sit covered for 10 minutes and then fluff it up with a fork. So because this is cilantro lime rice, I'm going to add in some chopped cilantro, and lime juice, and then fluff it with a fork. And then I'm just going to cover the rice with that same lid so that it stays warm, while I get everything assembled. So for these sweet pork salads, you don't have to use a tortilla for this. You can use the store-bought like taco salad shells. I like to make my own. I have these little holder type things. I just found these on Amazon. They're fairly inexpensive. I add the tortilla to this, and this is like a soft taco size tortilla. I like to spritz it with a little bit of olive oil and then pop this into a preheated oven set at about 350 degrees. And then you just bake this for maybe about 8 minutes or so until the edges start to get golden. And then you want to let it sit for about 5 minutes before you use them. And what I like to do is as soon as this comes out of the oven, I sprinkle a little cheddar cheese in the bottom just so that kind of starts to melt. All right, so here are the fixings for the sweet pork salads, and I just follow the recipe, which is supposedly how Cafe Rio serves these up. But you're in your kitchen, you can totally swap things out for what you and your family like or what you've got on hand. So we've got the cilantro lime rice, those taco salad bowls. We've got some black beans. I just took canned black beans, rinsed them in some water, some chopped up lettuce, pico de gallo, and I'll put the recipe for the pico de gallo in the description box below. Tonight though, just to keep it easy, I just use store-bought. We have that tomatillo ranch dressing. This is optional, but you can use some cotija cheese. I had some on hand. I need to use it up, so I've got it. And then some shredded cheese. Now, I believe they also use tortilla strips. We were out, so I didn't use that today. But yeah, to assemble these, all you do is put some rice in the like taco salad bowl, add on your sweet pork, your black beans, all the toppings, and then finish it off with some of that dressing and the cotija cheese, and this is delicious. That sweet pork is so yummy, and you totally can do things other than bowls. These make delicious burritos, delicious burrito bowls. We take the sweet pork and do tacos. We've done nachos. We've done quesadillas. Oh my gosh, the quesadillas are so good. So yeah, you can totally make up the sweet pork and then use it in all different applications. You can use it, make it once and then eat on it a couple times during the week. And I also, a lot of times, because it's just Gary and I, even after having the recipe, we normally have like a ton of sweet pork left over, and this freezes beautifully. I just take the shredded up cooked pork, pop it in a Ziploc bag, and then of course label it, and then whenever we want sweet pork again, I'll just pull it out, let it thaw, warm it up, and you're good to go. For dinner the next night, I didn't get a picture, but basically it was the same thing as the previous night. We just had leftover the Cafe Rio. Gary had another sweet pork salad with the tortilla bowl, and I did just a burrito bowl, basically the exact same thing, just without the tortilla, and that was our dinner that night. The next day was Labor Day, so I invited my family over. My two sisters were working, so that sadly they couldn't come, but my mom and dad and little brother came over. And so I just did some pulled pork. I've shared how I make my pulled pork before on my channel. It's how my dad makes it. I just took a pork butt, rubbed it with some of the Kinder's barbecue seasoning, added it to a crock pot, added a little root beer, and then a few dashes of liquid smoke, cooked it on low for about 8 hours until it was super tender, and then shredded it up. We've got hamburger buns, and then when we have family over, we do the barbecue sauce on the side. Now, all of my siblings like barbecue sauce with their pork. If it was just Gary and I'd mix the barbecue sauce in, but no big deal. We'll just set it to the side. So I've got the Kinder's Hickory Barbecue, and then I've got some pickles. We've got dill pickle slices, bread and butter pickle slices, and then the Famous Dave's, I think it's the sweet and zesty pickles. And then we've got some coleslaw my mom brought. She uses coleslaw mix, and for the dressing for her coleslaw, she uses poppy seed dressing, which might sound a little bit weird, but it is delicious. Super quick and easy coleslaw, and it is so good. Then I made corn on the cob, just took some fresh cob that was, had already been shucked. Got some water, little sugar, salt, butter, just boiled the corn for about 7 to 10 minutes until it was tender. I set out a couple bags of chips, and then my mom brought some baked beans. I picked up some just store-bought from the deli macaroni salad, and then I made my loaded baked potato salad, which I've shared many times before. I'll put that video down in the description box below for you. So here's my plate, and if I do say so myself, everything was delicious, especially mom's coleslaw and baked beans. And then for the desserts, I went back and forth on filming these desserts for you guys. I ended up ultimately not doing it only because these two desserts are so simple and were very, very similar, just off by a couple of ingredients difference, that if I would have filmed a dessert video, it would have been like 2 minutes long. So I ended up not filming it, but these are so easy, just a couple of ingredients. I'll have the recipes linked down below. They are no bake icebox cakes. The one on the left is a strawberry icebox cake. The one on the right is an eclair icebox cake. So these were really easy to put together, like I said, and they were so good. For dinner the next night, I made the Cozy Cooks baked spaghetti. I've made this before, and to be honest, this is my favorite baked spaghetti. I love like the viral TikTok where you like make the Alfredo sauce, mix it with the pasta, and then make the marinara sauce. But that's kind of a lot of steps and dishes and everything else, you know, making the homemade Alfredo sauce, making the homemade marinara sauce. So this is a lot, I think, easier, less dishes, which I love, and it is so good. So again, the recipe will be linked down below for you. In this pot here, and it's not dirty, I just boiled up the spaghetti in this same pot. But again, I don't like dishes, so no sense in dirtying up another pot. All I'm going to do is add in some ground turkey. That's my meat of choice. You can totally use ground beef, ground sausage, a mixture of the two. And I'm not using a lot here because Gary prefers his like spaghetti sauces not to be super meaty. And that's fine with me because it helps us stretch, you know, a pound of ground turkey. So once I've added in the ground turkey, I'm going to add in some diced onion, season that up with salt and pepper, and then cook that until it is all the way brown. If you're using ground beef or sausage, you may have to drain the fat off, but because I was using ground turkey, we're all good. I'm going to add in some minced garlic. I'm using this stuff from the jar. You don't have to. Give that a stir. Cook that for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to add in our tomato sauce. You can make your own from scratch. You know, add in like some tomato paste, crushed tomatoes. Use your favorite store-bought. I'm trying the Prego brand tonight. It was on sale, so we're going to give that a whirl. I'm going to give that a stir, and then you can season this however you'd like. I decided to add in some Italian seasoning. I'm adding in salt and pepper, and then give that a really good stir. Give this a taste. Adjust the seasonings to your taste. I let it simmer for about 5 minutes just to let the flavors come together, and then it's time to add the cheeses. At this point, I turned my heat down on low. I'm going to add in some ricotta cheese, some shredded Parmesan cheese. You could also just use some of the grated Parmesan in the green can if that's what you've got on hand. And then you want to add in just a little bit of cream cheese. I have the whipped cream cheese on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to give that a stir, and again, this is on low heat. You just want to cook this until all of the cheeses have melted. Last but not least, we're going to add in our cooked spaghetti. You could use whatever kind of shaped pasta you want. We're going to give that a really good mix, and then this is going to go into a greased baking dish. We're going to top this with some shredded mozzarella cheese. This is going to go into the oven that was preheated to 375 degrees, and you want to bake this for about 15 to 20 minutes or so until that mozzarella cheese on top is melted and starts to get a little bit golden brown. You can broil this for a minute or two, you know, if you want to kind of speed up that browning process. And then here's what it looked like when it came out of the oven. I did garnish it with a little fresh basil. Here is a picture of my plate. Gary ate later than I did. I forgot to get a picture of his plate, but it's literally the exact same thing. We've got some of the baked pasta. I cooked up some of the New York bakery frozen garlic breadsticks, just according to the package instructions. And then I decided to do a Caesar salad real quick because I had everything on hand. So I just did some romaine lettuce, some of the Ken's Caesar dressing, and then some croutons. Just gave that a good toss. And yeah, it was delicious. And we had tons of leftovers. Speaking of leftovers, that's what we had for dinner the next night. We just had leftover of the baked spaghetti. For the last dinner in this week's video, Gary ran and grabbed Arby's for us. So here's what we got. I got their chicken bacon Swiss sandwich. I get it with no lettuce, and then got some curly fries and a cup of cheddar. I love dipping my curly fries at Arby's in their cup of cheddar. So good. And then Gary also got a chicken bacon Swiss sandwich. And then for his side, he decided to go with their, I don't know what they call them, but basically jalapeno poppers. And he loves that with their Bronco berry sauce. And then I ordered this through the app, and the app had a coupon where with any purchase purchase, you could get one of their gyros, and we'd never tried their gyros before, but I was like, hey, it's free, let's give it a try. And so we tried it, and it was actually good. You know, it's not the best gyro I've ever had in my life. I didn't expect it to be, being from Arby's, but it was a pretty good gyro. You know, if you're craving one and you don't have a Greek restaurant around you, not a bad little gyro. All right, that is it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video and got some dinner ideas to try from it. If you did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.